Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on how to make calligraphy and illumination templates for medieval manuscripts, which can be used in reproduction bookbinding, modern calligraphy and illumination projects such as marriage certificates or commemoratives, and also predominantly SCA award scrolls for recipients in the Society of Creative Anachronism. I have the facsimile of the Macclesfield Psalter, and then I have this one, and forgive me, I do not remember the name of this manuscript. It was written down on it, and I lost the little piece of paper that went with it. So the main thing is that they all have this grid, which is usually put in lightly in either light brown or red ink or silver point. And that is to be a guide for specifically for the calligrapher, and then for the painters and the artists to put in any illuminations or decorations. So it's difficult to see it on this one because it is so light, but in the Macclesfield Psalter it is much easier to see, especially on camera. And we should have a nice page right here, and you can see the guide goes there and across here, straight across, because when they did these, they would stack them and they would have a template where they would prick through on the outside, and then the person who was doing the register could just draw in all the lines without any issues, and then it would go to the calligrapher, and then it would go to the artist. So what we are going to make today is this, which needs replacing. This is my Macclesfield Psalter template, and it got crunched and munched because I did not take care of it. Now, I made some new ones last night in a wonderful tutorial where my arm blocked everything, so you couldn't see anything I was doing. The main thing where this is a benefit is that I now have two templates, one of them showing the original setup of the Macclesfield Psalter, which is traced directly from the book, which is a facsimile, which means that it's a photograph that has been reprinted of the original manuscript in the original size. Unfortunately, when you photograph something, there is a minor amount of distortion that happens. And when you have an original artwork, sometimes that original artwork is not perfect. And when you photograph an imperfection, it magnifies. So there is a line up here that is not completely straight. It's not super obvious in the manuscript itself, but it is not straight. Down here, this one has just a little bit more to it, as in the original manuscript. That is just going to make a modern person twitch. So it is best to fix those things. And we can also add in what was taken off when it was rebound in the 1700s. So that is pretty cool. I also have my marks on the outside where I can prick it off of the margin, which then gets cut, which is how that was done initially. And I know where all of my lines go, and I was also able to fix any tipped lines or anything like that. So today we're going to do another one of these in darker ink so that you can actually see what's going on. So we're going to start off with tracing paper. It can be any kind of tracing paper you like. And you can also use a light table if your image is not double-sided. This is double-sided, so I don't really have the light table option. Give yourself plenty of room. And what I like to do, now remember these are photographs of books, but what I like to do is to mark the center of the book and the edges of the pages. And obviously, because there's a curve here, this is not going to be perfect. And then I like to mark the bounding box of the text box. See, this line goes here, and this line goes here. And I'm just giving myself little marks to go by. And this is very fast and dirty. This is not my final copy. But now I have all of my blocks in. These are the major ones that I need. So we're going to draw this grid in permanent marker, which hopefully you can see. It doesn't matter that that moved because I've got my dots in. You just want to be careful if it's a library book not to draw the book. Now sometimes these went all the way to the edges of these books and sometimes they did not, because when they put in a larger illustration they wanted to be able to know where that illustration was going. And if you have pages that have illustrations on them, you're going to see more boxing. Alright, immediately you can see that there is a camera angle issue happening with this. So if we measure, that is 3 1/8, and well, that is still 3 1/8. Awesome. Okay, and then let's measure this. To me, this just doesn't look square. That is 5 1/16, and that is 4 1/8. So that this line right here is where it is so far off, just because the book is curving. And so when the camera took this picture, this one kind of squeezes in. It's not that this line isn't straight in real life, it's that it's a camera, it's a picture. So therefore that is not actually correct. So what you can do is check this angle. This one is square. This one is not square. So just line this one and this one up. And then realign that line. And that will make things much happier. It's not that far off, but it's just enough off to drive you nuts. Okay, and then we're going to put this back underneath it. And because we know that this is distorted over here, we are going to trace our actual lines. Where are you? Right there. And we're just going to mark the spacing of these lines. I'm not sure if that's actually a line. That's right there. Okay. I think I'm off somewhere already. And because we know that there is a camera issue there, we're not going to trace the other side of it because that would be distorted. So now this can go away. If that wasn't distorted, that wouldn't be an issue. But this is a cool trick. You just take your square, line it up with the line that you know is square. I hope and I went right off that page, didn't I? That's okay. This is not exactly how I would like to be doing this. I'm having a hard time seeing it, but hopefully you can see it this time. That is the goal of this tutorial. And that just does not want me to do that. There we go. Now you could use an Ames lettering guide for something like this. I think that when my friend made the copies of this particular manuscript, she blew it up to fit an 8.5 by 11 page. I don't think that original manuscript was that large because to me the ink particles don't look exactly the way I would expect them to if somebody was writing at that size. I think it's smaller, but that's okay, especially for a modern reproduction or inspired by or whatever you want to call it. it's artwork, and you're just using this as a template. Now, if you are doing a lot of these, and you're not doing a book format, like each one is its individual thing, actually even if you are doing a book format, and you have this on the computer and you can just print it out, then you can test your calligraphy on a printout piece that is not made from parchment or vellum ahead of time, which is a nice little tool to have. So if you have an image editing program that can do lines, that's awesome. I feel like that one is off. Okay, so it's just that simple and easy. And we are going to indicate that this is not this line. Alright, so I just know that that's not that line. And I also want to indicate my direction of up. Okay? And where my page edges of the parchment are. And if you're bookbinding, you have more because that gets sewn into the edges of the book. But just like that, that's how that works. And it's as simple as that. Now, if you're pricking, you obviously want to prick out here. So you could measure these lines out for your pricks, and you only prick on either side of your large page with the spine in the middle. You don't prick the spine. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, and I will catch you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this.